Hi, today I'm making the simplest apple strudels I can make. Normally I would do my dough by hand, but I don't have too much space. I'm gonna make it with Phyllo dough, but they are the easiest thing to do. First, I'm coring my apples, and I never take out the skin because they have fibers. They're just washed. I'm just gonna chop them by hand. Normally I would use a food processor, but again, nothing is handy, then I don't mind to chop them by hand. I don't want perfection. I just want, chunks. And like I said, this is the most easiest recipe you can make. I do 2 apples. I think they're enough, but you're in charge of how much you want to use. If you baked this recipe, please don't be shy. Write us in the comment section or on Facebook at Large Line. I'm gonna go ahead and do the second apple. Any kind of apples you like. I prefer red apples. You can do green apples. You want apples that are crisp. You don't want soft apples. But normally when I do the apple strudel or apple pie, I like to use old apples, the ones that are already wrinkled, because they are sweeter and they had less liquid. Because my apples are not very old, I'm going to use something to help me have less liquid while keeping the flavor in the pie, in the strudel. But normally I would buy apples ahead of time and put them in the refrigerator for 6 weeks at least. The older the better, in my opinion, because they're getting drier, and then you'll have less liquid while we're going to have more flavor. I don't have space in the camper refrigerator because I'm cooking from our camper. Then I will have to use fresh apples, which are super moist. I don't know if you can tell, but they are moist right now. See, the wrinkled apples are the best in my opinion. And normally the apples are good after the winter when you have them stored in the refrigerator. I always have apples in our house because I grew up eating a lot of apples. That's a good memory of ours. My father would always bring home apple dailies, and we'll have like 4 or 5 pounds of apples a day. I have 2 sisters, and between all 3 of us we will eat all the apples. Then the next day my father will have to go get more apples. I'm done with chopping the apples. Now I'll have a little bit of walnuts, which I'm just gonna roughly chop because I don't want big pieces to fill up the dough. I could use a food processor also, but if I use the food processor, they'll be too tiny. Then I like better this way. And I'm gonna put the apples and the walnuts together. Then I have some raisins. They're super good golden raisins. They're super large, which I love. These are my favorite raisins. which I don't find here in Montana. I have to get them from Las Vegas. Then my help is this one. I'm using semolina flour. I could use instead fine plain breadcrumbs. Doesn't change the flavor too much, not actually at all, and just a little bit goes a long way. In one way, the semolina is gonna help me keep the moisture away, and the other way, the raisins, which are dry, are gonna absorb a little bit of the extra liquid. I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon. Normally I like to grind my own cinnamon, then sugar. I don't need too much sugar because I have the raisins, the apples. Maybe I have 2 teaspoons of sugar right here, and my vanilla extract. I don't need too much vanilla, but still I think that's enough. And now I'm just going to mix them up, and then let it sit on my counter for a little bit to have everything absorbed. I want all to be infused with the vanilla and the apple flavor and the cinnamon. Maybe half hour, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, whatever you have available as time. Alright, this is it for now, and later I'm gonna move up to filling of the dough. And now for the second part, I'm going to need the phyllo dough that I let to come to the room temperature. I'm gonna put this aside, and I'm gonna use another plastic sheet I just had used before. And if I have patience, I take one layer at a time and use, but I don't have patience and I don't have space, and I'm gonna use 2 layers at once. I'm gonna run to the refrigerator and bring my butter, which is cold, very cold. And because I like to make my life easy, I'm gonna use this just to grate it on top, here and there. Normally I will have to melt butter and oil together and sprinkle it, but I thought why not? Let's try this way, and I like it better. Just I wanna distribute the butter here and there. The butter is gonna melt and it's gonna spread around, and I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of sugar because I don't want my pastry to stick. And now in go another round of phyllo dough, and I put another one. I could have put more butter in it. Okay, this is it. Now I'm gonna be generous and sprinkle this on top. I'm gonna make 3 of them. And this is it for now. Just gonna roll it, and they're gonna go in a tray. I like to reuse my parchment paper, and this is the one. Moving on to the second. Butter again. The butter has to be cold, otherwise it would not grate. Alright, I think I'm happy with that. I don't want to touch too much the butter because it's gonna melt in my hands. It's delicate. More sugar. Another double layer. And now filling. Rolling again. And place it back on the tray. Okay, and now moving on to the third one. Again, 2 layers. Butter. The butter started melting. Is not easy to work with right now. That's why I got to move fast. Sugar. Another double layer. And the rest of it, I don't want to just pour it over because I have a lot of juice. And that juice, I'm gonna use it for the top. I normally would leave this on the counter for 2-3 hours. Right now I didn't. I didn't want to just dump over because I have a lot of juice left here, and then I'm gonna use this juice for the top. And the third one. Now that syrup is good, and I'm gonna brush the top with it. Never waste a good syrup. Took me 20 minutes to make, not even that. Simple, easy, healthy because I don't use a lot of other ingredients. Well, it's the sugar, I guess, but it's not too much anyway. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more sugar on top. I'm not gonna do an egg wash or nothing else. I keep it simple. All right, it's gonna bake when I'm ready to bake at 425 for 15 minutes the most. And I'm trying to bake everything at once. I have the apple strudel on top, I have the bread, a steak over there, and I have a cheesy bread in the back. I am using a countertop oven, and I had to have on the convection because I'm doing many things at once. After a while I had to switch around the trays to make sure that everything bakes evenly. Thank you for following me in cooking from our camper. Even if the space is not big, we are enjoying fresh food. The strudels came up perfect. One of them and the cheesy bread went to one of our neighbor's house. The ingredient list is going to be in the descriptions, and if you have questions, please do so in the comments section. Don't forget to share and subscribe to help our channel. See you next time.